Time to discuss a few hot topics this morning. Angela Mollard and Danielle Miller join us. Good morning, ladies.
Hi, good morning.
Angela, the purpose of this discussion this morning is over a feature you wrote on the weekend, suggesting that we should talk about issues of size. Tell someone who's fat, they're fat. Is that what you really mean?
No, that's not what I really mean at all, actually. What I mean is that policy isn't working. The Productivity Commission came out at the end of last year and said, particularly in children obesity tactics, it's not working. We need to look at a new way, and there's lots of ways the government's looking at it. But on a personal level, who talks about obesity? People don't. People in small groups don't talk about it at all. And yet it's proven that if you're spending time with people who are obese or overweight, you're much more likely to become overweight or obese yourself. Now, if we talk about it in groups, if we're honest about it, there's a much greater chance that people will make a difference to their own lives and to each other's.
I guess it's all about society's image. Now, how many times, Danielle, have we discussed body image, especially concerning young girls?
Yes.
But do we ever sit young girls down and say, you know, don't read those magazines, you might become anorexic. Don't read those magazines, you might become fat.
Yeah, look, I think the problem is that we are already, as a society, incredibly fat-phobic, and we associate all these horrible personal qualities with people who are of size, things like greed or laziness, and that just may not be the case at all. The research also clearly shows that body size isn't necessarily an indication of how healthy you are. We know lots of people who are incredibly thin, but perhaps are, you know, running on cigarettes and adrenaline and not eating well. It is important to have honest conversations around size, though. That's a really valid and great point. But we know that shaming doesn't work, so you have to be very careful about how you might frame that discussion.
But the fact that society doesn't want to talk about it, and I think we can all safely say obesity, morbidly obesity, means you may die premature death, and you have health issues. You also have lifestyle issues. You miss out on a lot when you are obese. So calling a spade, is that discriminatory?
Well, you know, we're talking about shaming. I have someone in my family who's morbidly obese, and I was recently on holiday with him, and it made me sad. It made me cry. He has 4 children, and I saw him at the beach, and I looked at him, and I'm not judging him. I love him. You know, I absolutely love him. Someone in my family, and I just, it makes me want to say something, because what if I don't? What if I don't say, I love you, and it matters to me that you're this overweight. It matters to me that as a dad, you're compromising the life that you can give your children and yourself. If we don't say anything,
But you are then
to blame?
assuming that person doesn't know that
Of
already.
course he knows it. But does he also need to hear that I care, that I give a stuff, that I want to make a difference?
Our relationship with food and eating is so incredibly complex, and a lot of what drives us, particularly to overeat, is emotional. So there would be some real underlying issues there, and I can completely empathise that if it's someone you love and care about, you know, you want to help them. I think the key is, as I said, we just have to be so careful.
3 meals a day, and socialising is eating and drinking.
And don't we get mixed messages as a culture?
No,
on the one
I
hand,
love socialising. I do it really, really well.
I'm sure you're brilliant at it.
I'm
But we
very
get
good
these
at
mixed
it.
messages, don't we? On
And
the
it's
one hand,
hours at the gym or trying to do something and then
but it's
depriving
these messages.
myself.
On the one hand, we get, you know, constant food porn on TV and constant ideas about socialising in restaurants.
I just caught that one. Food porn.
Well, it's become like that when you're watching all of the various cooking shows, and it's just it's also
food
delicious.
porn every day.
Yet at the same time, we get the Biggest Losers shows and the dieting products, and so we're getting these incredibly mixed, complicated
put
messages.
Biggest Loser right
Eat
next to
lots, but
MasterChef.
don't get fat. You know.
Okay, well, I guess it is a tough issue. Health and lifestyle, keeping people there.
Balance.
Quickly, girls, if we can cover, I was very distressed to see 7-year-old girls on the weekend kickboxing.
Oh, so wrong. So wrong. And these gloves, they're 450 grams each. So that's smacking a block of butter into a 7-year-old's head. It is 100 shades of wrong as far as I'm concerned.
And watching it, I find, this is the first time I've seen the footage, deeply distressing. The thing is,
I'm also worried about the tank top she's wearing.
look,
Midriff. She's 7.
we as a culture have a fascination with girls and violence in particular. If you look on YouTube, there are 8 times as many clips depicting girls fighting as there is boys fighting. If you try and Google girls in violence, you'll find that there is double the amount of hits on girls and violence. As a culture, we find this abhorrent because we're not used to this. Generally, I would say I would find any kickboxing for girls and boys of this age completely out of the question. I mean, this
Angela
is disturbing.
and Danielle, thank you. I agree. Whether it's boys or girls, way too
not a
young.
gender issue.
Okay. Angela Millard, Danielle Miller, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.